Hi, let's talk about the US tax filing process, which is a massive market with a huge potential for compliance professionals like you. The goal of this video is to guide you step by step through the process of assisting US CPAs in preparing federal tax returns for US individuals. Now, let's get started and explore the huge opportunities in this field. The US tax filing market is enormous, and US CPAs have a huge opportunity to save costs when they outsource backend tax return preparation work. Did you know that US CPAs can save up to 70% of their costs by outsourcing this work to India? However, not every CPA has access to reliable Indian professionals. That's where you come in as an Indian compliance professional offering services like bookkeeping, payroll, tax filing, forensic accounting, and more. Would you like to learn how you can be a part of this growing industry? Here is a list of the typical services you can provide to US CPAs: bookkeeping services, management of accounts, receivable, payable, financial analysis and planning, financial statements and report drafting, processing of payroll, reporting and filing of taxes, cost accounting, and forensic accounting. Would you like to dive deeper into how you can assist CPAs with these tasks? Imagine assisting a CPA in preparing a tax return for an individual client. The client could be a business owner or an employee. So, how do you get started? First, you need certain preparatory work. You will need to gather essential personal information that will allow the IRS to identify the person filing the tax return. This includes social security number, similar to Aadhaar in India, full name exactly as on the social security card, date of birth, home address, a copy of last year's federal and state tax returns, bank account details for receiving any refund claims from the US government. Just like for any Indian client, you will need these details, right? So once you have all the necessary information, you will proceed with the tax return preparation. There are specific categories of forms that you will need for this process. These are 1. Forms for reporting income, 2. Documentation for expenses, 3. Documentation for deductions, 4. Forms and documentation for tax credits. Let's break them down further. Most income reporting forms start with the number 1099. These forms are essential for reporting different types of income. Let's look at some common scenarios and the relevant forms. First scenario is the client lost their job and received unemployment benefits. So form 1099G is used for unemployment income. The link to this is in the description box. Scenario 2, the client earned dividend income or made profits from stock sales. Form 1099 DIV for dividends and Form 1099B for stock sales. Scenario 3, the client earned interest income. Form 1099 INT is used for interest income. Scenario 4, the client earned rental income or sold a property. Form 1099 MISC for rental income and Form 1099S for property sales. Fifth scenario is the client worked as an independent contractor. Form 1099 NEC or Form 1099K for freelance or consultancy income. Sixth scenario could be if the client runs a business that is not a C Corp. For an LLC, income will be reported via Schedule K1 for LLC owners. Now, these are just a few examples. There are more forms that apply to specific scenarios which you can find on the IRS website. The link to this is in the description box for you to refer to it later. Now, let's talk about expenses. Self employed individuals and business owners can set off specific categories of expenses. This works similarly to India, where business owners can claim business related expenses. For US clients, you will need to collect business expenses and income records if the client is self employed, home office expenses if the client works from home. This includes square footage of the home and the area used exclusively for business, More on home office expenses are here, and the link to this is in the description box. Records of assets for depreciation. Just like in India, the US allows depreciation. Then travel expenses related to business purposes. These are the key categories of expenses you need to track and document. In the US, taxpayers can choose between claiming the standard deduction or itemized deductions. These deductions reduce taxable income just like in India. Some common deductions include out of pocket medical expenses, certain insurance premiums, mortgage interest, various state taxes, charitable donations similar to ATG in India. If your client opts for itemized deductions, you will need to fill in Schedule A of Form 1040, which is the personal income tax return form. The link to this is in the description box once again. Tax credits directly reduce the amount of tax owed. For example, if your client has a child, they can qualify for a $3,600 tax credit per child. Credits are also available for adopting a child or for education related expenses. These credits will further reduce the tax liability. You need to make sure your clients are aware of these opportunities. Once you have gathered all the necessary information, it's time to fill out the income tax return. The key form for US individuals is Form 1040. This form is the personal income tax return and it will include all the income and deductions you have reported. Some 1099 forms may need to be attached depending on the income types. You will also need to adjust any taxes already paid, such as estimated tax payments similar to advance tax in India, withholding taxes information provided on Form W2, similar to Form 16 or 16A in India. There are different forms depending on the type of entity you're dealing with. Form 1120 for C corporations, regardless of taxable income. The links are in the description box. Form 1040NR for non residents, such as foreigners, Canadians, Indians, with US based businesses. We'll teach you how to complete these forms in detail in the course. Some corporations, especially those with assets of $10 million or more, are required to file their returns online. This online filing can be done through the IRS website or sent via regular mail depending on the circumstances. As an Indian CA, CS, or compliance professional, you can help CPAs prepare these forms. You will do the backend work, handling up to 90% of the return preparation. The e filing is done by an authorized filer in the US, such as a CPA or a corporate secretary. You will be doing the detailed work, including form completion and documentation. Do you know how to find CPAs to work with? You can visit cpadirectory.com to find US based CPAs looking for assistance with tax return preparation. The link is again in the description box. By the way, here is how we used AI to fill a client interview checklist for a self employed US service consultant who owns an LLC. You can check out the link to this transcript in the description box. Once you're prepared to do the work, the next step is to send a professional message. Here is an example of what you can say. Dear name of the person, I am an Indian compliance professional, CA, CS, or CMA, with a strong interest in the US tax system. I would love to assist CPAs like you with backend tax return preparation, accounting, and coordination. This is not a commercial proposal. I simply want the opportunity to contribute and help. And if you like my work, a recommendation on my LinkedIn or Upwork profile would be appreciated. You can find sample forms that I have prepared for US federal tax returns here. You can include a link. Let me know if you would like assistance or guidance on any tax related matters. I'm also happy to help you with other services such as creating a blog for your website or landing opportunities to speak on top podcasts. This is a kind of message that you can send to a prospect CPA. And with a message like this, you can hope for a response as soon as possible. So, this is how you do an outreach. Would you like to learn how to handle US tax return preparation and build a reliable career in the US tax compliance? Join our free 3-day bootcamp and get detailed live guidance on US tax preparation, including how to complete these forms. This bootcamp is for compliance professionals like you who want to learn the skills that will set you apart in the global market. The bootcamp is live, conducted online over 9 hours this weekend. No recordings would be available. Set a reminder so that you don't miss out. See you there.